as we think about trauma recovery from a liberation perspective, it would be to examine not only what is it I am seeking to be freed from, but what is it I am seeking to be freed to, right? So what that means is freed from. A lot of our focus is on like, what was the trauma? What was the wound? How did it affect you? What did they do to you? All of that is backward looking, right? Which is fine, and that's an important piece. But I am also liberated to something, and that is the play, right? That is the expression. That is my identity, what some people might call post-traumatic growth, right? And so what is not just meaning about the trauma, but what is my meaning? What is my purpose? What Howard Thurman, who's a great theologian who's no longer alive, he said, we need more people who do the things that make them come alive, because far too few of us are actually alive, right? And so that is when we are in survival mode, and that is what rigidity is. Rigidity is living in survival mode and not yet fully living or thriving. And so to help clients to get from surviving to thriving requires a openness to new possibility. Because if I just keep doing what I have done to stay safe, then I am safe but unfulfilled. But when I start to think about, I have been freed from, and I have worked, right? It didn't just happen. I worked to free myself from that mindset for what? I worked to get myself out of that house or out of that relationship. But what I often say to clients is trauma affects you, but it doesn't define you, right? It is not the sum total of who you are. So now that you are out of those cobwebs, even physically, and we've done the work emotionally and spiritually, now it is time for the creating of a life, right? And the creating of the life requires coming out of those bars. And so once we want to shift that, two of the important things to use are play and art. Play, and when I say play, I don't just mean for children. I mean for adults to even explore play, to explore their creativity, to discover new habits. That playing can even be creating new relationships and friendships, going different places, being out in nature can be a form of play. And how do I do that when I am used to everything being controlled? And so the first part of it can be planning my play. That's a good middle place, right? For someone who's used to being very rigid and we're trying to help them step out of it, is for them to start creating plans and opportunities to do things that are out of their norm, right? So with one client who is very isolated, works with numbers. She's very good at finding the problem, solving it, and making sure everybody is on their Excel sheet where they're supposed to be. But then on the weekends, what she would say is, I like to be in my house reading. So she stays in the house all weekend reading, but a part of her desires more. A part of her, even though she loves to read, but a part of her is unfulfilled. So, we started with her being willing to go to a festival, a food festival, and online they have the map of like which booth is where. So she could map out her whole Saturday of where she was going to be and where she was going to go, but she's out of the box, but with a map. So us being able to help people cultivate those spaces, create those spaces where I can try the new while also having my security blanket in some ways. She has started building more friendships, being more open in her friendships, being more open with her coworkers. She's gone on a dating app. She doesn't have a significant other yet, but she is out there living. She also had a goal of finding a church community because she grew up in one and now has been very isolated. And now she found one. And interestingly enough, they can make use of her skills and gifts around numbers and grants. So it's a beautiful fit where they have an appreciation of her. And in that environment, she's coming out of her shell more.